imagine in a world we are talk of disability, we're talking about 1:5 is an impact. If one person with disabilities is being helped, we have five more people adding to the economy. And I'll make it real and give you an example. Typically, if a person with disability is identified as disabled person, you would have seen the whole family gets to help one parent. And typically, unfortunately, in our world, mothers for their whole life, they leave their profession, they leave anything else they do, they'll always be around as a special, person to who's taking care. Imagine if you're enabling a person with disability, he or she gets free as well.
Oh, yeah.
So their caregivers, their special educators get to do a lot more things. And hence they get back to their jobs and adding, stuff to GDP as well. So imagine it's just a multiplier effect. If you enable one person with disability, what kind of sea change or ripple effect you can cause and help the economy as well. So I think that's the way we look
Yeah,
at it.
that's a very good explanation of it. And again, we talked about a lot earlier where you worked in building AI when it wasn't AI today. Now that AI is glorified everywhere, I had to ask a question.
Yeah.
How is AI going to be assisting the disability sector in terms of assistive technology?
Yeah, I think with AI, we've seen the whole sea change where it was such an innovative technology, and some people are probably comparing AI as the invention of steam engines and all that. And I think it's true in some senses as well. But I think the some part of the world we are thinking or AI is devil, and I'm here to tell you it is not true. AI is a boon for people with disabilities. Imagine. Independent mobility solutions, which I was talking to you about. There is a startup called ID. There's another startup called SHG. There's a startup called Sunbot out of Gujarat. All of them have developed a small device for visually impaired people, which get attached to your specs here. It uses video and audio as an input, and it uses your mobile as a AI processing engine, and it is self-learning. So it's going on, you're going on the road and it's self-learning. It's able to, it's a object identification in both and external and internal environment. So it's also identifying there's a car on the right, there's a pole on the left, and it's self-guiding through audio output through this through bone conduction handset. Yeah. So imagine such the power of the tech which I just described to you. People with visual impairment will be able to are able to move around independently. In the indoor environment, if I'm sitting in front of you, I'm a blind person, if I'm using that technology, I'm able to face recognize you, I'm able to voice recognize you. So, 5 year, later, if I meet you, I'll be able to detect, if I've saved your profile, I'll be able to face and voice detect you. And I'm going to say, hey, Shivan, how are you, by the way? I mean, we had a wonderful conversation back in 2024, December, sitting at your home, having this conversation. And so that's the power of tech. There's a lot of technology for, brain-computer interface is being used as well, where we are able to, obviously there are technologies where we're able to think and control a lot of electronics at home, switch on the lights, control the washing machine and stuff like that. I think a lot of more research needs to be done, obviously. We're also talking about examples of AI being used in developing a virtual bot or a virtual agent avatar, where in a virtual call, that virtual avatar will be able to do sign language on the go. And so it's a tough problem to solve, even as simple as it looks like or sound like, because sign language is not just hand gestures, it's shoulders, eyes, and all that. Imagine I'm able to have a conversation with you where a virtual avatar is actually doing the sign language. I'm able to actually understand everything which you're saying while I'm speech and hearing impaired. So I think there's very matured use cases of AI, ML, computer vision, which are coming into play. And we're very happy that the ecosystem which we are building is not, again, those ecosystem on the sides. We are mainstreaming it. We're using the same contemporary tech in disability use cases as well. As I say, I'm very, very excited that all these technologies are enabling people with disabilities as much as they're enabling us to do and making our life easy as well.
Mm-hmm. So, just a couple of questions to wrap up now. What's your advice to any young entrepreneurs who want to enter the assistive technology sector? I gave you an example from my school. What's your advice to them?
I think number one, we have to, what are we building? We are building a tech solution for people with disabilities. Never build a solution for people with disabilities. Always build a solutions with people with disabilities. Involve them in very early as a design time. You don't want to be building a fantastic tech which nobody wants it. Yeah. And hence involving the community of people with disabilities, their parents, the special educators, caregivers is so important in building a good tech, but a real tech which helps. Without that, I have seen even the best of technology institutions in India have built amazing tech. Nobody uses them, even the ITs. Yeah, and hence making the solution real is only possible when you involve the community of people with disabilities at every step of your development. I think that would be one of many advices, but I'll keep it.
Yeah, that's one, but I would like to also hear one for the business side of things.
Yeah, sure. See, today, and earlier we spoke about it, that we need to be smart enough to figure out the monetization. A lot of time, assistive technology is close to health tech and med tech as well. So a lot of our portfolio startups are building solutions which will take 18 months to do some ethical trials and all that. A lot of time, the investment of time, effort, money is a lot more than any other field, and hence we need to be smart about building technologies. And for example, some of those devices may people may not be able to invest 10 to 20 lakhs. For example, a startup which is building intelligent physiotherapy solutions, that device would probably cost a bomb. So we need to think about rental model, pay-per-use model. We need to think about smart monetization models. And I think if we are able to experiment with large hospitals, clinics, physios chains, and all that, we should be able to figure out a method which works. I mean, which is probably unknown today. So, being smart about your monetization strategy is going to be a key for assistive technology startups. Otherwise, you can have the best solutions, but if you're not able to figure out that whole thing, it's not going to work.
That's insightful. And last question. What's your vision for the future of ATF?
So, like I said, Shivan, there are 1.4 billion people with disabilities in the world, and we're talking about 2.5 billion people needing assistive technology, where only 10% of them have access to assistive technology today. Now, how do we solve such a large, problems of such a large population? And while ATF has built this ecosystem, we're very excited that this ecosystem is scaling very well, as you can see. In just last few years, we are able to reach 1 million people. Our aspiration is to build a unicorn ecosystem. And by unicorn ecosystem is not the $1 billion unicorn ecosystem or billion people unicorn ecosystem as well. So we want to invest in building this ecosystem, which can be then enhanced by many other organizations in India and outside. But this ecosystem will be a billion people impact ecosystem is what is the aspiration of ATF as we speak. And we are very excited that kind of innovations we are seeing, the kind of people we are getting in, who are getting involved, the kind of partnerships in India and global which we are just able to establish. We have no doubt that in next 2030 and 2040 is going to be very, very different and inclusive, much more inclusive for people with disability if we are able to aspire to build this unicorn impact ecosystem. So that's really the aspiration.
Yeah, that reminds me of my conversation with Mr. Ranganath Tota. He's from Fuel a Dream, and he said I asked him like, are you afraid you'll become too numbers oriented? He's like, no, I want to be numbers oriented, just the right numbers, how many people I impact, how many lives I change. And that's great. Where can people track your journey to 1 billion? Where can people track it?
Oh, I think you can track it in our website. You can track it in our social media as well. So
LinkedIn, you would want.
Yes. No, I think just go to ATF's LinkedIn website, and I'm available, to have a conversation as well. So my email ID is pratik@atflabs.org. Probably you can put it in your, notes as well. But thank you very much.
It was great having you on.
Thank you, Shivan. Thank you for inviting.
Ready to see you change lives.
Yeah.